We're returning to LEGO City Space. I have taken a look at this sub-theme before, and it did leave a good impression. Key points of note are the design, the build, and the overall LEGO set experience. I felt it outdid Star Wars in terms of a spaceship set, and was a genuinely worthwhile pickup. Today we're re-entering the sub-theme, but this time looking at mechs. It's another direct point of comparison between City Space and Star Wars, another theatre in which they can go head to head. I have taken a look at those Star Wars mechs, and well, they're weird. Certainly an odd part of the Star Wars lineup. But back over to City, this sub-theme has already impressed me. Now let's see if it can do it again. Today we'll be looking at the Space Construction Mech, reviewing it, and based off some set categories, see if it has what it takes to out-mech Star Wars. Before we dive into the City Mech, I wanted to introduce its competition. I'll be using the Boba Fett mech as the representative for the Star Wars side of thing, because well, to be honest, it was just a random pick. All the mechs pretty much do the same thing, just with a different coat of paint. I also reached for it first, so here we are. If you want to see my thoughts on those mechs, you can click just up there. Though, what about that City Mech? To be expected, we're starting with that minifigure. Right off the bat, that chest piece is really interesting. A full 2x2 on its back. Minor spoiler, but this set doesn't use it for anything. I can only assume that this piece is used elsewhere, and looking at product images for the rest of the lineup, that seems to be the case. My initial thought was that's how he was going to connect to the mech, but sadly that is not the case. But anyway. The minifigure is just one of those gets the job done city minifigures. Still not used to original LEGO minifigures, not trying to be something else, but it continues design elements from the other figure I looked at. Overall, I don't want to say it's bad because it's not. It's just nothing exciting. It fits the space construction look and is a nice part of the set. Moving on to the set, despite the very low price tag, this still includes a couple of side builds, completing the full playset experience. Firstly, we have a little rover looking thing. It's quite well designed for something with so few pieces. The second little build is this little crystal deposit. I enjoy this because it feels like a complete set of things, and not just an action figure of sorts. I also do enjoy the subtle storytelling that's going on with the purple batteries and crystals. These exact same elements and motifs were present in the interstellar spaceship as well. You know, they thought of a few things. This also carries over into the design of the mech. Those batteries are right on the back there. Moving on to the mech, and something I have to mention before I explode. Let's check the evidence locker. Yep. It's as I thought. It is minimal, but I can't help but flinch when I see them. They are quite fiddly as well, which doesn't help, but anyway. We'll move on. Right away, I really like how this mech is proportioned. Everything is just the right size. It makes a good use of parts to lift certain aspects of the mech. A good example is that those tab pieces and smooth round pieces complete the legs really nicely. The design in general is quite nice, and that, I feel, is due to one thing. Purpose. The mech was designed with the idea of being used for construction in mind. That allows the design to be way more cohesive and read a lot better. I point to this as the reason why I enjoy the design so much. That plus the little world building elements leads to a pretty nice looking little model. Let's apply this to the Boba Fett mech. What is the purpose of this mech? Being a larger version of Boba Fett? Just to be an action figure? It's a little confused and kind of just exists. I don't think it looks bad, but what is it? It's weird and wacky and without purpose. And as a result, the design doesn't come together quite like the City mech for me. But alright, moving on to posability. I was disappointed to find out the elbows and knees on these Star Wars mechs didn't move, which did affect posing. Right out the gate, this LEGO City mech has knees. Before we get too excited, the knees are slightly restricted by the detailing on the foot, but it is a set of knees the Boba Fett mech doesn't have, which also makes for better flexibility. Though to weigh this out slightly, the Boba Fett mech does have full-size arms and posable fingers. The construction mech has a set of tools for arms, which aids in design but does nothing for posing. The Boba Fett mech's limbs are pre-posed in a more natural way, which helps, but the construction mech takes this, I'm afraid. You can just move the mech into a larger variety of poses. One thing that is less noticeable, but ultimately is for the better, but the mech has a better centre of gravity from what I found, which helps for posing, so yeah, 1 point to City. Rounding this out, we have some quickfire points before our final verdict. We have the minifigure, and well, must I go through that song and dance? It wouldn't be fair. Next, we'll compare side builds. And the construction mech comes in strong with a complete playset. Looking over at the Boba Fett mech side builds and lastly is price, and I think this is pretty obvious, but yeah, the City set is priced way better. Even the price per piece is better value, but that was to be expected. I guess the conclusion is yeah, I certainly prefer LEGO City's mech more than the Star Wars offering, for the above reasons, though do let me know what you prefer in the comment section. And with all that being said, thank you for watching.